Hey there, my name is David Rodgers, and I want to welcome you to the Nashville Jazz Workshop's Artist Spotlight, where every month I get the chance to sit down with a handful of artists with upcoming performances at the legendary Jazz Cave in Nashville, Tennessee. We get to dive into a bit of jazz history while also learning about each artist's process of preparing for their upcoming show. This week I sat down with pianist, composer, and producer Jon Cowherd ahead of his quartet debut at the Nashville Jazz Workshop this Friday, June 7th. Jon and I chatted about his recent move to Nashville after 30 years in New York City, how his love and appreciation for a wide array of music has influenced him creatively, and Jon told us a little bit about some of the music he's written for Friday's show, including how he likes to approach free jazz. I hope you enjoy. Hey, Jon, thanks so much for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This Friday, it's coming up. We have your show at the Nashville Jazz Workshop, your quartet.
Yes, it's a quartet.
Yeah. And what can we expect? What kind of music and who's playing?
Well, Joel Fromm is playing tenor and soprano sax. Michael Rennie is playing electric and acoustic bass. And Aaron Sterling is playing drums.
How did you decide on these individuals for the quartet?
Well, Joel, I knew in New York, and we played together for years.
Okay.
And I've only been here a few months, but we have yet to really do anything in Nashville. So I called him for this and excited that he's free. I've known Mike Elizondo. Well, Mike's not on the gig, but
he was originally
I'm getting to why I'm bringing him up. I've known him a while, and so I asked him to do the gig, and then, of course, he has to work now. But he recommended Aaron Sterling, who I've known about, am a fan of. So he was really excited to do it.
Yeah.
We still haven't played yet. We're going to rehearse Thursday.
Fantastic. All right.
So, yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah.
And Mike Rennie's playing bass, who is a bass player I've known for a while and happens to be my brother-in-law. And
small world.
Yeah, it is. It totally is, which is one of the reasons why I'm here in Nashville. So I'm looking forward to that. He's great on electric and acoustic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast.
Talk about Nashville. We were just chatting, and you grew up
Yeah.
not too far from here, but have spent most of your life professional life in New York City.
That's right. Yeah, I grew up, I almost went to Belmont.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I auditioned. My parents knew Jon Arn. I
Okay.
don't know if you know Jon Arn. He was the piano teacher there. I don't know when he retired, but it wasn't maybe 10 years ago or more.
Okay.
Jazz teacher, and so I auditioned there, but then I got this opportunity in New Orleans and ended up going to school there. That's a whole nother interview probably. But I grew up 2 hours away, and my parents are musicians, and they have lots of friends that are here, and we have lots of family here. So I came to Nashville a lot growing up.
Okay.
My wife, her mother is here and brother, and we have a 4-year-old, and I was determined to be a New York dad
Yeah.
for as long as I could, and then some other opportunities popped up, and we decided to move to New York, and went to Colorado for a bit, and then came here. And I've only been here, I guess, 6 months-ish.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love it here. I mean, the musicians are so welcoming, and I've had so many lunch meetings and dates and coffee, and it doesn't feel, I don't know, like networking can be sort of a negative thing in some places,
For sure.
but here it's not. It's like, I feel like it must be that there's so much work. Everyone's like, hey, I got to get you on this, or I got to introduce you to this person or that person, and so many different kinds of things going on.
Someone made the comment the other day when they were talking about Nashville, about how even with its tremendous growth as a city and more people, I think it was something like 100 people a day.
Right.
That was the average rate at
heard
which
that
people
one
were moving here. As much growth as it has sustained over the years, it still has maintained at times a sense of that small town feel. I feel that particularly in the music community.
Right.
That's been my experience as well. People have always been welcoming and kind and thoughtful.
And how long have you been here?
About 11 years now.
Okay.
From Los Angeles, which is a different area, especially when it comes to networking and what's expected and maybe what's kosher or not.
Right.
What has been a highlight? I guess you were familiar with Nashville having grown up not too far away, but what has been a highlight of moving here since, I guess it's only been 6 months, you said?
Right. Well, I mean, of course, being so close to so many family members is awesome.
Yeah.
I have so many friends that have moved here from New York or from LA.
Yeah.
And I've gone out and gotten to hear some New York friends play here,
Yeah.
at various places, and even gotten to play with, some friends. Gabby Moreno, who's a friend of mine from LA, and she played at the Basement about a month ago, and I played the gig with her. It was really fun. Yeah, so those kinds of things, the diversity of music that's happening here and people coming in town to play. And I have some friends playing here tomorrow night from New York at the drum shop.
Oh, Nelson's drum shop?
Yeah, Nelson's drum shop. So
Cool.
I think I don't want to speak too soon. I think I'm going to jump in on that gig too and play.
All right.
So it's really fun. I love, I like all kinds of music. And in New York, I was lucky to be able to kind of jump into different styles, singer-songwriters, and even a little country up there.
Really?
And I have a New Orleans band that kind of plays like the Meters, Dr. John, Professor Longhair, Alan Toussaint kind of stuff. I like all kinds of music, and I feel like that's a cool thing that Nashville, I was worried that people get pigeonholed here. But I don't think it's the case anymore. I think because so many different musicians are here and types of musicians. So, that's great. I've been out with a lot of friends to hear local bands and local musicians, and it's been really fun.
That's great to hear. Yeah, it's been my experience too.
And because we're new to the scene, and my wife's like, go out. Meet some people. So,
yeah, ride that as long as you can.
Exactly.
How has your love and appreciation for all types of music affected you creatively? And maybe speak to particularly the music that you're thinking about or have maybe even written for this upcoming performance on Friday.
Right. Well, yeah, I just mentioned New Orleans. That was a very, very important time in my life. I went there for college. So from 17 going on 18 to like 23, I lived there and had never really done any piano gigs. I was a French horn major.
Really?
Yeah, and I went down there to do that, and I was working on French horn, and I got so into jazz.
Yeah.
And then Brian Blade shows up at Loyola after I'd been there a couple of years, and we started playing.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided, okay, I really want to do just piano. But in that city, there's so much great music going on, and it's a real melting pot, and always has been, of all kinds of cultures and styles of music. And rhythm is so important, and groove is so important, and I think that was a great foundation for so many types of American music, Black American music. And so that, I don't know, a lot of those musicians, it's in the music that I write. There was a weekly gig at a hotel called The Columns that they had a jazz room, and a band called Astral Project played there every week, and they were our teachers at Loyola. Johnny Vidakovich on drums, Steve Mazakowski on guitar, James Singleton on bass, Tony DeGrati. And so Brian and I, we started hanging out like all the time, and we would just jump in either of our cars and always hear Astral Project. And one time Chick Corea's electric band played, and we ran over to Tipitina's to hear Chick. Then we ran over to hear Astral Project. And those musicians, the New Orleans ones, were influenced by everything that was going on in the city.
Yeah.
So you had the marching kind of like New Orleans street beat. I think Johnny would put that into a swing tune, Johnny V, the drummer. And they would write songs with boogie woogie bass lines, but it was and then it would go free, just I felt like that was the greatest education in a way. For the whole time I was there, I was trying to catch up because I had been a classical musician. I was really trying to catch up with my jazz knowledge. And so in a way I missed out on a lot of the rhythm and blues that was going on and things that now I've been back and I try to learn more about that stuff. So I think I was mentioning that I have a band that does New Orleans music too. That's sort of more in the funk type, But my friend and I that started the band, we were like, how about, Dr. John or the Meters meet 70s Miles, in some way, So that's kind of what we do. So there's a little of that in what I'm going to do at the Nashville Jazz Workshop. I have a tune that I kind of designed around some James Booker kind of stuff.
Cool.
So, James Booker would groove. His left hand was kind of incredible.
Yeah.
And then what he could do polyrhythmically in his right hand against that. Now, I'm not doing any of that, but I did write, some Booker-inspired kind of stuff. I wrote a suite, actually a while ago, called the Mercy Suite, and we're going to do that. So there's some New Orleans rhythms and stuff in that. It's all kind of based in groove and then maybe a little bit of free kind of playing.
How do you conceptualize free playing? I've heard so many people come at it from different points of view, and
Right.
I remember I went up to the Banff Creative Workshop
Yeah.
with Vijay and Tyshawn Sori, and I think Fabian Almazan
Oh,
was
yeah.
there at the time.
Absolutely.
That was like my first introduction to serious free playing. And it felt, at the time, this was almost 10 years ago, it felt simultaneously heady, but also like the exact opposite. Don't even think.
Right.
Just react.
Right. Definitely.
I mean, especially with players who are coming at it from a different place than maybe you are. How do you introduce a composition or a compositional idea like free playing?
I feel like, other than what I've written on the page, not really talking about things and hoping that most of the musicians I played with, we kind of have a similar idea of what free should be.
Yeah.
And it's not completely free. Some of the stuff that will get free on this gig, I'm just assuming, is, it's like not necessarily out of time, though it does at times.
Yeah.
And it's a tightrope. And it's kind of like that Wayne Shorter the concept of zero gravity, where it's like you can kind of tiptoe out a little bit of even the time and definitely harmonic.
Yeah.
But I like to think of a motivic thing or themes, melodic things, or even rhythmic themes, or even there could be harmonic themes. But something that kind of guides it, and it can be things that everybody picks up on, or it could be everyone just doing something different at the same time. I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah.
But there is structure to it in a way. There is a foundation that it'll come from.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there are different players that I play this music with, a lot of the music that I've written, and sometimes it'll get really out there.
Yeah.
Like we're kind of like looking at each other like, should we? Do we really want to do this?
Yes, the answer is always yes.
And yeah, it could be really fun. And then, if the form gets lost somehow, so what?
Yeah.
As long as we're making music and we're listening and playing together. I mean, it really is fun, too, like to make it sound like it's just coming apart and then it snaps back together at some point. I've always loved that about, when I hear that in music that I listen to, it's like, what are they doing, Like Wayne Shorter's quartet. Yeah. And they would play, something that Wayne wrote in the 60s, like this tune, Go. And it'd be like, this is... I would hear the theme, and then I wouldn't hear it anymore, but then there would be hits that are in the arrangement that they would always come back to, and this is true with that Herbie band, too, that Brian and John Patitucci played with, the Directions in Music, I think it was called, where he has this version of Sorcerer that I'm like, what did he do to the
sorcery.
form? And it is so... I've like tried to transcribe what's going on, and I rhythmically can't figure out what Herbie's doing.
Yeah.
But they come back to that... whatever that Charleston rhythm or whatever it is, together. I love that.
Me
that
too.
concept.
Yeah.
If we can get there, you know. And a lot of times that takes experience playing together. And so it'll be interesting because I think everyone's game in this band.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, let's just see what we can. Everyone wants to do something we haven't done before, where we try.
Yeah.
But as far as concepts go, I mean, I guess it's just like listening and trying to, find something new that we can all be a part of and go for.
I wanted to ask you, because I was checking out your website and some of your credits beyond just playing.
Right.
Because you're a producer, you're a arranger, you've done work for pop artists, like Brandi Carlile.
Yeah, sure.
Worked with her.
Yeah.
And how do you approach something that might be pop versus maybe producing something that might not be, with all the different musical tools that you have at your disposal?
Right. Well, I feel like a lot of the pop-ish things that I've been a part of have come out of things that I really identify with. Like when I've worked with Brandi, it's been tributes to Joni Mitchell. And, I'm a huge fan of Joni's, and I love her piano playing and her writing. And, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question because sometimes I feel like I'm not as up on what's going on in pop music as I should be, and I want to get more into gear and synths and things like that. But it's been mainly piano or some B3. It's been mainly like acoustic, vintage type of instrument things. And I love that kind of stuff, and I've been lucky to work with other people that love that too. But I mean, I've played a lot of different kinds of music growing up, and when I was a kid, I was really into Stevie Wonder and, even like Rush.
Yeah.
Can't believe I just admitted that. And, the Doobie Brothers and whatever was soulful and pop music I always liked.
Yeah.
So I think that's always been at the center of what I've tried to do. And I got to play in church a lot and played in like gospel music when I first moved to New York. And that desire to play something that inspires, or that, I was getting inspired by gospel music and trying to play in an inspirational way. And I think that translates beyond any kind of style. And then a lot of the gospel, like maybe piano voicings or whatever, that's in a lot of pop music.
Yeah.
Especially rhythm and blues, R&B, and soul music, which I love so much.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's been in that sort of world a little bit that I've gotten to participate in.
Yeah. What's one thing about Friday that you are like particularly looking forward to? Maybe it's a tune that you have, or a moment. Don't spoil it all for us, but maybe give us a glimpse as to one thing.
Oh man, I'm just really looking forward to playing with this band.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a particular tune. I mean, I wrote a tune for my daughter when she was born that I'm looking forward to playing. Definitely looking forward to playing with these musicians.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.